Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today I bring you a home automation video that you're going to love, especially because the products I'm going to show you are going to be especially affordable, considering the competition in this sector, and that these are usually home accessories that are not usually cheap at all. In this case, it was BSEED, the brand that sent us 4 products from their complete range. BSEED has a range of hundreds and hundreds of products with different variations in colors, number of devices, or switches. Anyway, it's a wide catalog that I recommend you take a look at, especially because, as I said, these are really cool products, very easy to set up, and above all, affordable. In this case, BSEED has sent us a HAV Bluetooth and Zigbee, a smart plug that also allows charging via USB-C and USB-A, 2 switches or 2 relays that will also work with Zigbee and will help us create automations or turn things on however we want. Lamps or sets of lamps. And finally, they've sent us one of their LED strips, which will surprise you because it's fully customizable in segments of different colors, allowing us to create color effects. Anyway, it's really cool. And we're going to start with the HAV Bluetooth and Zigbee. Why did BSEED send us this HAV? Well, basically, the home automation in our house usually connects to technologies that aren't Wi-Fi. Why is that? Well, mainly, first of all, it's for energy saving, especially if we're talking about devices that run on batteries. All of ours are connected to the electrical grid. But even so, it's important to optimize energy consumption in devices that are connected 24 hours a day. It's important not to overload Wi-Fi networks. For example, imagine if we connect 100 smart home devices to our router and then try to browse on our mobile phone and it works slowly. Well, hey, other technologies use less power and let us dedicate them to tasks like smart home devices, avoiding this issue. In this case, this Bluetooth and Zigbee allow us to connect devices that have these technologies. In our case, we are going to use Zigbee throughout the video. In this case, the device will be passive. We'll connect it to a transformer, leave it, and it will operate on its own, as a bridge between our Wi-Fi network and our home automation devices. This way, rather than having 100 home automation devices on our Wi-Fi, we use one device to control them all and connect to the internet through a single link. It's very easy to connect. I've downloaded it. The Smart Life app is a classic when we want to connect home automation with Alexa, Google Home, and so on. It integrates with almost all types of devices, and this case is no exception. I've plugged this Zigbee gateway into the power, opened Smart Life, selected to detect devices, and as you'll see, it connected instantly. Super simple. From this moment on, we can already use Zigbee devices. In this case, the first thing we've installed is this outlet here, a smart outlet that will let us turn it on and off with different schedules. We can set a schedule by days of the week and hours. For example, this outlet can turn on from Monday to Friday at 7 in the morning and turn off at 6 in the evening. Why? We might have a lamp in the office connected to this outlet that we only want on during office hours. That's why. We save a lot of energy. If we just tell it to turn off at 6 or 7 in the evening and the rest of the time it would be on. Well, while we're using it, of course we have a little button that lets us, a little spatial aspect button, turn it off if necessary. We can do it to the... And there they can act with those, but why? Unlock the light. Each connected to its place. We tighten it with the screwdriver and we get some super simple and clear instructions to install it. We attach it to the wall with 2 screws and put the frame on, which just snaps on with a clip. Just so you know, you can find the frames for these outlets in black, gray, gold, and white. As in our case, choose the one that best suits your needs. Once it has power, we'll be able to connect it to the Smart app in the same way we did before. In this case, we go to our Zigbee gateway and we're going to add a new Zigbee device. In this case, it's going to detect the plug for us and we connect it, and from this moment on, it's seamless for us. In Smart Life, we would have the utility or the possibility to control the plug that we can see from the outlet. Well, of course, if it's on or off, we can turn it on and off directly from our phone button. We can set up schedules and monitor electricity consumption. We can set it to turn on every minute and off every 2 minutes between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., for example. Each person can adapt these examples to their needs. And, of course, the schedules I mentioned before, like turning on at 8 a.m. and turning off at 8 p.m. For example, once it's integrated with Smart Life, if we have our Alexa connected, you'll see that we name it Plug. And for example, we say, "Hey Alexa, turn on the plug," and it will turn it on and off instantly.
Alexa, turn on the plug. Alexa, turn off the plug.
Here, I think it's very important above all to also keep track of the electricity that has passed through this plug, because in the end in our app, it will allow us to say at the end of the month, hey, this plug uses this much electricity. It could be reduced, we can see the times, and maybe adjust the schedules to reduce electricity consumption. Now, they've also sent us these switches, which are basically Zigbee relays. In this case, we have the same functionality as with the plug I mentioned earlier. What is this useful for? Well, first of all, we can simply supply it with electricity and create automations. In our case, what we've done is control the LED strip, which I'll show you later. With these buttons, we've simply set up, an automation for it. Pressing the button should turn the LED strip on, and pressing it again should turn it off. Of course, we can also add some control signals for button 1 and button 2. For example, if we want to control another relay or some device that has a control line. However, this doesn't act directly as a switch, since we need to power it in a light switch. We simply have a switch, but couldn't we always have the buttons powered so they can work at any time? This, so to speak, would be for example, moving the curtains, or as I mentioned, creating some automation like pressing a single button and turning off all the lights. We did this in the Smart Life app using scenes. And in the same way, we can, for example, set a timer so that when we press it, a light turns on and stays on for 15 seconds before turning off. This really depends on each person's creativity, but for me, I think of the possibility of opening or closing, for example, an electronic blind or curtains. Of course, we can give each of these switches a name and say, for example, Alexa, turn on switch 1. And in this case, it would turn on just as we had programmed it, the LED lights.
Alexa, turn on the switch. Alexa, turn off the switch.
Finally, the LED strip. I really love the LED strip. It's truly a product that's worth every euro it costs. It's an LED strip I hadn't used before that works with a classic remote for setting different colors. We can set automatic operating modes. We can control the brightness, but all the potential is unlocked when we connect it to Smart Life. This LED strip isn't Zigbee. It uses Wi-Fi or Bluetooth instead. We have connected it directly to Wi-Fi. The operation is exactly the same. After connecting it, which is very easy, we can view the device in the Smart Life app. You'll see that it's going to divide the LED strip into different sections. That way, we can set each section to a different color to create a completely unique atmosphere. In the same way, we can set solid colors, adjust the brightness, turn it on and off, of course, both from the app and from Alexa, and we can set automatic operating modes with Listen, so that it adapts to the ambient sound. For example, when we snapped our fingers, the LEDs lit up in sync with the rhythm. What part do I think is very important here? Well, hey, first of all, being able to turn on some LED lights from Alexa, being able to program those animation functions, If we're watching a movie, playing a game, or doing anything similar, it has that effect. I like this LED strip because it's made for outdoor use and is fully waterproof. And also, they're not the typical LED dots that when we move away, we see reflecting on the wall, but instead, these are a lot of LED dots. So it looks like the bar has a solid and unified color. I honestly think this LED strip is amazing, and it's really worth trying out.
Alexa, turn on the LEDs in green. Alexa, turn off the LEDs. Alexa, set the LEDs to red. Alexa, dim the LEDs. Alexa, dim the LEDs.
Now, important points about Smart Life and how to connect it with Alexa. Well, hey, for example, we can buy a thermostat or some lights, create automations, and of course control it from the other side of the world, since we can connect to our automations from our phone. Of course, if we already have an Alexa in our house, then we can say, "Hey Alexa, turn on the lights, set the lights to red, lower the brightness, turn on switch 1, basically anything we want, endless possibilities." Let's discuss prices, since that's the most important aspect of these products. The hub, Bluetooth, and Zigbee cost about 26 euros. Both the plug and the switches, which we can get in different colors and so on, are around 28 euros. And in the case of the LED strip, it's approximately 69 euros. Now, very important, in the description, we are going to leave you a link through which, if you buy, you will get 15% off on all orders. And then additionally, you'll be able to get an extra 20% off on orders of 500 euros, on orders of 799, a 25% discount, and on orders of 1,399, a 30% discount. Honestly, vocational and educational services for individuals with disabilities has seemed like a fantastic discovery to me. Their products are very nice, affordable, work well, and integrate well with any type of platform. And I think it's a super simple and affordable way to automate our whole house. Because I'm telling you, on their website, they have hundreds and hundreds of products that you can check out to buy the ones that best fit your needs. That being said, guys, I hope you liked the video. If so, leave a like. And if you have any questions, you know you can leave them in the comments. And with that said, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.